Hello, everybody. Merry Christmas to everybody watching this channel. Hope everybody's got a good Christmas and everything's going well. Happy New Year finds you um, good spirits, good tidings there, everybody watching, and those that are not should be. All right, so this has been kind of in the makings. I was trying to do one earlier this summer and it got pushed off for other videos coming through. We're going to do this video a kind of equipment tour and one for Joe Sears, viewer watching, asked for a planter setup. So we're going to start right here in the machine shed, kind of showing you everything we've got going on, kind of do a little explanation, what we got and what we're using for, intended uses for. So for Joe, right off the bat, we're just going to walk right over here to our planter. So we started out with a John Deere 7000, and that was one that my father-in-law had, and we kind of just outgrew it. I wanted something that was a little bit bigger. We could cover the ground faster and still do a very good job getting the seed placed in where we wanted it, but yet big enough. At the time we started out certifying, I think our third year in, we were at like 420 or 440 acres. So I wanted to be able to cover the ground as fast as I could, get all the seed kind of in the ground, popped up and emerging kind of, in a timely manner that we could cultivate everything, in a short window. So that's kind of what we ended up going for. We started with the John Deere 7000. I got a chicken in here. We outgrew the 7000. I had an opportunity to purchase a International 800 16 row, and I believe it was summer of spring of 18, maybe 19, that planter busted. So anyway, we had to upgrade then to a 955, which I'd kind of been looking at this particular planter because it had different options. This one's got select row on it, which is that, so I can shut off 2 rows at a time as I come into point rows or whatnot. The old 800 was a rear fold thing, so I could only shut off half the planter, basically lift half the planter up at a time, which, that was okay. It did a good job. I couldn't complain. International 955 16 row front fold with select row on it. It does a really nice job. It's got the fertilizer boxes on, but I don't need those. They're just on there. I would like to try maybe some of that pelletized stuff to run through there, but I don't know. I've never really got too deep into it after I found that it wasn't going to be near enough of an application. So I'm just like, well, if I can't put enough on, I guess I don't need to screw around with that. But we've kind of changed routes, and we're going with green manure, green plow down. That's where we're kind of switched to, rather than trying to put all the fertilizer on or up front with the planter. So that's kind of what that is. Like I said, it's a 16 row 30 inch. Oh, I didn't mention it does have no-till coulters on it. That's just something that it came with, and I've got them lifted up so they're just barely touching, or a little bit in the ground. I've never really thought an International needed to have no-till coulters on, even doing no-till. So these things do an amazing job. You could almost plant in the concrete, a lot of people say. But one other thing I should mention, this thing is freaking super tongue heavy. These transport wheels here are obviously up. They're only down now for parking, unhooking and such. But when you put them on the planter, this is the planting. When you put that planter on the tractor, you can see there it's got a double jaw. I call that a cat hitch. It's got the welded hammer strap on the top of it. And this one, I don't know what drawbar it is, but it's a heavy duty sucker. It's not the traditional one, and it bows it pretty significantly when it's when both of those hoppers are full. It puts a lot of freaking tongue weight on it. Okay, gee whiz, we're at 4.5 minutes already. So next up is our Trefler tine weeder. We bought that in 2019. Got a pretty significant good deal on it. It was a kind of a new old stock deal. The guy up north had bought one, and they shipped several over when they shipped his. So he had this one for sale in his shed. Never used, brand new, like I said. It's oil on it because I guess it was this tractor. The hose popped out, remember? So popped out when we were taking off, and then it squirted oil, and I never did get it power washed. But anyway, moving on. There is the John Deere rotary hoe. It's a 30-foot. Yeah, so it kind of doesn't really match the 8, 16, whatever rows that we're doing, 8 row or 16 row. This is our Buffalo. I forget which model it is. It's an 8 row 30, but I don't remember what it is, 6100 or something. Does a really nice job. Once we flip those disc killers around and throw dirt into the row, I had to really slow down. I've got them set at 30 degrees. There's a little adjuster right there. It's set for 30 degrees, so we could lessen it up and not throw quite as much dirt. And probably would have done sufficient work that way. Just a single big sweep, running 16-inch shovels on it. I do have a guide hitch. You can see that square thing right there. That's for the guide hitch. But I've always had a kind of a hard time getting it to center on really short stuff, so I just didn't use it. I don't know that this is actually an 825. I had to flip the camera over to read it, but the guy I bought it off of, this was the very first one we bought. That's what he claimed it was a 625, but I think it was originally a solid bar, and someone put a conversion kit on it for folding. This is the only thing we used this year on the soybeans. It did a really nice job. You see there's no rolling shields on it. I have flow shields on it, which is those little flat blades. They kind of just, as the dirt comes up, it hits that and fans it out instead of letting it roll up the shank and smash your stuff. It does a really nice job. At 9 miles an hour, it really throws dirt like a son of a bitch. Okay, what do we got over here? This is our baling tractor. It's not a 37, as the sign says. It's actually a 35. I put a different hood on it because mine was, kind of wonky, but brand new baler this year. You guys saw us get that 605N. A New Holland. What is this? 7550. Yep, it's really nice disc bind. I thought I was gonna not like it, but it does a pretty good job. I don't see any oil leaks underneath of it, so the bar's good and tight. Once we figured out that tower over there was our problem for the vibration, the bearing being not out, but it was out, that kind of fixed all that stuff. A bush hog, I forget what this is. It's a really old booger. The diverter box is the center box, and that's kind of not really sought after anymore. Does a really nice job. 20-foot bush hog. I picked it up really dirt cheap, busted and stuff, and we fixed it. The only thing I really have trouble with is keeping the blades sharpened and replaced. This was one of them that we bent back straight because she had a bit of a bow to it, and so yeah, that's nice. John Deere 235 24-foot I think disc. I rarely use it anymore since we've got this bigger one. This is a bush hog. I think it was a 1440 or something. Can't remember. Don't quote me. It might not be a 1440. I've got the book in the shop, but Glencoe SF 4300 soil finisher does an amazing job. After you run the disc in the corn stalks, it does a beautiful job. On soybeans untouched, it does a beautiful job. Typical coon or coon style whatever rake. I guess it's not a coon style. What's that? H&S style. International 710. I've got 2 of those boogers, 5 bottoms. We use those for working under our alfalfa. This is one of our hay tractors, 986. This is a customer tractor. There's our 1070 original. That was our my father-in-law's tractor. And it's kind of an old booger, but you know what? She does a really good job. We rebuilt the power shift in it a few years ago when he was still alive, and it's still, that's quite a tractor. This is the 3788 customer tractor we're trying to do the air on. It's just in here waiting until we get time to screw with it. And of course, you get big tillage tools, you got to have a big tractor. 9150 Case IH. That's a beast. And then we just finished up the seals on that last video. I did not get the other oil leaks fixed. There's two, I believe there's sensors or something stuck right inside of the transmission. I don't know if I can find them with the camera now, but that's where the oil seems to be leaping from. And see, I got just one little spot right there. Can't see it, I don't know, somewhere. One little drip. Both of those two are 3588s. Okay. Yeah, that's the one we just had in the shop. That's the planter tractor. It needs to go in and get some repairs done to her. Not really much out here to see. That's a 700 International 6-bottom. I bought it at a farm auction for parts. All right, now let's see. We got to go down to the machine sheds. That's where the other stuff is. Okay, right off the bat, we've got a 183 8-row 30-inch cultivator. There's our other 710 5-bottom. We've got a 133 cultivator sitting there, an 8-row 30. And this is one of our flame weeders. This one's an 8-row 30 with twin burners and a 500-gallon tank. I'll tell you what, when you get that sucker full, she is freaking heavy. That's just about all the anteater can do to lift that one. The green cultivator back there is just a kind of an off brand. I think it's a Lindsay. It's got two different style row units on it. It doesn't do a very good job. The newer row units, I think they're newer. Those seem to dig a little bit better. Maybe they're a little heavier, pitched a little different, something. I don't use it. I just don't like it. That's our 816 row, and it's busted. It's got all the electronics on it are screwed up. I've got two Harrows sitting clear back over here. I'll flip the camera around, a little better zoom on them. Both of them are 6 section fold-up Harrows. They do a really nice job. I'll walk over here real quick so you can see the disc. Okay, here is the 12-foot offset disc. I don't really like using it because it just leaves the ground too rough. You still have to disc an extra 3 times with the V disc or the tandem disc. This one's got a little bit of personal history for me. That was one that my dad farmed with many years ago, and he basically quit farming like a year or so after I was born. So that's why I've got that one. All right, now let's run over here to the shed real quick. Okay, here is our little square baler. 270 New Holland hay liner. Does a really nice job. We bought it, I don't know, 8-10 years ago, and almost immediately it quit working, and we had to hand tie a bunch of bales. But a couple years worth of tinkering with it. Granted, we only do 400 or 500 bales a year. We finally got it working. Got the niches worked out of it. Now she hammers bales out without any problem. 1083 corn head. So it's an 8-row 30. We've got a 20-foot 1020 bean platform, and those work really well together with 1630s. There's a Buffalo category 3 hitch back there. We don't use that. It's just a parts thing I got from a neighbor a few years ago. I don't even use these anymore. This was from back when we were conventional. We'd haul it into town. This one's not mine. It's just stored here. We sometimes use it. I did some work on it a few years ago up in the gearbox with bearings and stuff. The big underneath auger needed some bearings in it. We did all that work for him. Another little wagon. A 10-foot offset disc. Yeah, again, I don't really like using them. And this is a 12-row 30 cultivator, but I just bought it for parts, so I'm going to make a flamer out of it. But I haven't had time for that. Again, another thing we don't use anymore. Last time we're using it, it was on a steep incline and we freaking twisted the hitch out. So it needs to get sold or something. This is one of our first rotary hose, 15-foot International. And it's got the twin wheels, one there and one there. Again, I don't use that one anymore. Need to get rid of it. All right, one more shed to look through. That one in the back over there. All right, as we walk back here to this shed, the Mulcher is what that brand is. It's a 5-shank inline subsoiler. As you can see, it's been there for a couple years. I think we used it in 19, so those trees have grown since then. What a pain in the butt. We're gonna have to get them cleaned out. And there's not much in this shed. We just got the 24-foot cultipacker and hay rack and hay elevator. And then our, I guess it's not mine, but that propane tank in there. Use that for filling the flame waiter. Bunch of square bales for sale, of course. All this hay is for sale. Just got to find somebody to come bid it up and you can have it. Okay. Hope that answered y'all's questions. Joe, I hope that explained it enough for you. Ground clearance, I guess, isn't really an issue. I've cultivated corn with the anteaters, and I think it was that John Deere 25, that cultivator, when the corn was almost as tall as the hood, midday. And people telling me I should have been doing it at night when the corn's more flexible, but yeah, it did lay them over a little bit, but come through with the combine, you didn't notice anything, so shouldn't be a problem. Anywho, all right, guys, hope you kind of enjoyed the equipment kind of run around here, and stay tuned for other videos coming up. All right, guys, you know what to do. Hit me up in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe, give me a good share and a thumbs up. And again, guys, till next time, catch you later.